Yo, in this video I'm going to show you guys how I made this Knock2 style drop. This might be one of the nastiest tracks I've ever made on this channel. Guys, this is a free FLP, so you can go ahead and download the file. Let's get straight into the drums. Right here we've got our kick. Clean punch and some noise up in the higher end. Let's take a look at our spectrum. We've got a little bit of everything. We've shortened our kick using transient bleeding, which gives us that tail at the end there, and then we can just drag our kick to however short we want it to be. The shorter your kick, the more you can mess around with the bass lines and the subs. Now our claps. First, a very basic layer here, a short clap, hitting quite a lot in the treble. When it comes to top layers in a Knock2 style track, we are hitting that treble. It's easy to be deceived because Knock2 often uses very powerful leads, but he doesn't always let those leads penetrate the treble as hard. It's a very unique mixing technique. Jaws does the same thing, where he kind of lets the leads not hit the top of the treble. That's reserved space for the hats and the clap. And we have a top layer onto that clap, where we are only using the tail of the clap. As you can see, we are automating the volume so that we let the main clap hit, and then the tail of this clap kind of gets louder. We've added a reverb, and once again you'll see we're just focusing on the high, mids, and treble, and that's about it for the claps. All right, next up, our hats. This is our first hat, very metallic, clangy sound, and it's just quite a short hat. Let's remember, we're hitting that treble. Our secondary layer is just a more tail sound. This is sort of a 90s style hat. You hear this a lot in tech house, but it's got a lot of tail, and we've actually shortened the tail a little bit because normally it's like that, fully open hat basically. We're just using the energy of that, but not the full length of it. Knock2 makes festival bass house. In my opinion, that's the best way I can describe it. Festival bass house means we need festival style drums. If you want to take it to the next level, get your second part of the drop to also have rides on every beat. All right, next up we've got this noise layer, and we've just sidechained it. It's very short. In our B part, it becomes sort of a percussive element. You can hear some percussion going on here. This is just kind of to separate the A part and the B part to make your bass house tracks way more engaging in the drop. It's like your melody and your bass line is telling a story, but we're basically doing that with the percussive layer here as well. Then we've got an additional percussive element hitting the groove. Moreover, it's stereo delayed with stereo enhancer. It's really powerful to do because when you have something stereo, you can lower the volume of it quite a bit, as you can see what we've done here in the mixer channel. So together, that noise and this percussion sounds like this. And then the main thing that brings these drums alive at the end, this is offbeat hitting male breath sound and vocal chop. Any non-drum related thing supporting the hat on the offbeat, it's a staple of the Knock2 style. Often done with lasers, and we've got some lasers coming up. The exciting bit, guys, the bass line. Simple thing here, our sub. When it comes to kind of getting this Knock2 style, start with your bass line, aka your sub, because Knock2 tracks have an extremely powerful sub. It's just an easy way to establish how you're going to build your melody on top of that. All right, next up are insane leads. There's 3 layers to this lead, and they're all going into the same mixer channel. Also, these effects going into it, you'll hear on every one of these patches. It's just a bunch of compression, then we're just getting rid of the sub. Our first part here, just quite a dirty saw wave, and we've just used sync in order to make it sound like it's octaves up, but as you can see we've put it down octaves, so it's a counter effect. It makes it quite dirty, and the key here is to kind of play the same thing with a different lead that is slightly different. For example, here we've got a different bit. So it's a very similar lead, almost the exact same thing as our other layer, except an octave up and not using sync. We're playing a different note here. While the other lead is playing a C, this lead is playing an E. We're kind of using notes inside of the same key that sound nice together with the other note. It just creates a lot of tension basically when you play those two together. And also at the end here, we're going down one note to just create that extra tension of where is this melody going to go? It's going to go into part B, and we'll get to that later. Finally, there's this layer. This is actually a serum patch from my pack, Metamorphosis. Pretty much playing the same as this top layer here, except the counter notes in the fourth beat here are playing a different melody. Together, it sounds like this. One other thing to note with this lead, obviously, as we can see here, there's a serum pitch bend. That's only on this last serum preset here. We are modulating the pitch wheel. And that's the ultimate way when it comes to leads to create that tension into part B. As I said, there were gonna be lasers. You already heard what the sub sounds like. The sub is the main character for this B part, and we're just layering on top of that. First, let's listen to those lasers, I promised. This is also a slightly modified serum preset from my Metamorphosis pack. A high resonance on the filter, and then modulating where that resonance hits creates that laser. And you can do this on any type of thing. If you take a sine wave and put it a bunch of octaves up and do this laser effect, it'll be much cleaner. Likewise, you can do it on a saw wave. It might just be a bit too sharp, and then you'd have to filter it out using a secondary filter after you do this laser sounding filter, if that makes any sense. And again, we are following the same groove that our percussion is hitting that we established earlier. Then on top of that, we have a bass element that is not hitting anywhere near the sub. It's cutting off in the middle of the bass, and we're just playing around with the frequencies together with the sub. See how it's kind of like all married together? To make this easy for you, do this all in one channel rack and then split them up later for structuring and organizing. Finally, we've got these horns. As you can hear, there's sort of a root note it keeps hitting, which is E. Again, it's crucial to remember that we cannot be hitting the sub. Also remember, everything's going into the side chain so that it gives us space for the kick. Mixing 101, guys. Lastly, we've got a little bit of effects going on throughout the track. I mean, if you know Knock2, he loves vocal shouts and effect sounds. First of all, we've got this. And then we've got an actual sample that is free to use that he used in one of his famous songs. And then next up, we've got this sort of highly reverberated synth hit that transitions us into part B. As you can see, it hits at the end of part A. And then lastly, I've created this. So it's actually saying skirt, but I put the S after the K, so it sounds like curse. You gotta kind of have like a little bit of an ADHD outlook when you make this kind of track. You gotta just throw your ideas against the wall like spaghetti and see what sticks, you know? You gotta have fun. That's the main thing. As long as you're having fun, you're getting there. And again, the main goal is not to recreate a famous artist's song. The main goal is to learn from their techniques and develop your own style. And I hope you did that today. Oh, I forgot one thing. There's a sort of riser going on throughout the track. You can hear it right here. And you can also hear how my ADHD is going crazy right now. And then it repeats. Very quiet, very background, but it's essential texture to glue everything together. Alright guys, if you did enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe, and I hope you found this video useful. Peace.